Morning, it's Martin from Martin's Engine Services. Well, it's a glorious day here in West Norfolk. Sun's blazing now. It's very, very warm for the time of year. The hurricane, storm and general end of the world we had on Saturday and slightly into Sunday seems to have subsided now. Bits of trees have stopped flying everywhere and wheelie bins and whatever. Certainly an excitable few days. So I buried myself in the workshop on Saturday, lashed the doors down and set to and started making myself the garden trailer. Upside down on the bench here, I'll flip it over in a moment, is the basic chassis. A piece of plywood is the floor. I've basically, as usual, made it out of whatever I can find. I found as many bits of angle as I had. A piece of an old roof rack is going to make the drawbar or trailer bar. The new wheels I ordered have arrived. I'm currently making them an axle. So staying with the traditional theme of making everything fit whatever, those wheels I picked up are really good because they do actually come with, getting away, a whole range of bearings, and they basically slot inside each other, sort of Russian doll style, so you can pick whichever size you want to fit whatever axle you happen to have available, which is a rather clever idea. Now, the size I'm going to be using is these ones. And I found a piece of metal, a piece of steel rod for the job. It's actually copper coated. I think it's actually a earthing spike or lightning conductor rod or similar. So I've shortened it, but I need to machine the copper off so I get down to the steel inside. The copper coating's about 3/4 mil thick, and the steel inside is exactly the right diameter for these bushes. I can't machine these out to the copper size, the finished size, because there won't be enough wall thickness. So, being that I need the axle around about 30 inches long, unfortunately this lathe here takes something of that length. So literally, I've got it right on the end of everything. I can't come much further than that with the actual carriage, because it actually falls off the end of the rack. The rack actually stops here, and I've managed to just pinch everything along a bit, so that's what you call maximising the machine available. So I've just started taking the copper off now. It runs actually very, very true considering the length of that rod, and I've actually had to put a centre point in the end, calculate the centre, and I'm actually surprised and show you it's it runs absolutely perfect. Oh, the vibration noise is the what's that called, Martin? Fixed steady here. We've got brass pegs that run against it, and they are sort of chewing the copper up. It doesn't matter because that's only going to be in the middle of the axle, but I had to put that in to stop things obviously whipping, because when you start putting the load of the cut on, it'll start whipping around. So then I'm going to machine this end down to probably a centimetre apart, about there, somewhere about a centimetre past where I've done now. That will then be left as it is. That will be the size for the wheel to go on. Obviously be a hole in the end for a washer and split pin, and probably a washer on the inside. I've got to finalise the length of the axle yet, but I'm going to machine one end and work it all out. Then I'm going to flip it over and simply repeat. But yeah, that's what you call getting as much out of the machine as you can. I think the tailstock clamping plate's right on the end there. This is actually a 30-inch between centres machine, so if I had another centre in here, same as this end, then it would actually be 30, but because you've obviously got a little bit of, so this will partially enter the headstock or the main shaft, so I have got about sort of 31.5 there, so it just gives me enough to trim up. So if nothing else, that does look pretty impressive in there. I've no idea where this rod came from, so it's another one of those things that's been in my... There's the pile of bits of metal. There's my famous heap of metal down there, with Martin's little off-cut selection. You can make anything with that lot. There's more metal there, more bits there, more off-cuts there, more bits there, box under there, nuts, bolts, screws, more nuts and bolts. Yeah, look, nuts, bolts. There's a tub or two there stopping the door flapping around in the breeze. Oh, more metal there. And there's more elsewhere. So with all that stuff, you're bound to be able to make something. So there's the idea with these wheels. You see, you can just pop out. He says, there's that one. That one is actually fixed in, although you could take it out. Then you just clip another one in, and yeah, I mean, quite impressive. They were £9.45. They take 150 kilos, steel rim, inner tubed as well. Not worth messing around with anything else. They're nice and compact. They'll be inboard of the trailer, so nothing sticking out to get caught. So that should work very, very well. I'm rather pleased with those. So on to the rest of the operation. So what I basically did was take the. This is actually the width of the ride-on mower, less a couple of inches, so we say. It just happened to work out that way. So I basically cut the floor to size, laid the angle around it, tacked it together, then welded the corners on. I have reinforced the corners because obviously the ones at the back where the tailboard will be are unsupported in one plane. So I just welded this little bit of angle over the edge. I've got to clean it all up yet. I don't know what this thing was. It's some rough old stuff, but it was free, so away you go. Let's move that out of the way. And yeah, I'll flip it upside down and give you some idea what it looks like. Right, well that's the sort of size it's going to be. It's worked out to be, I don't know what it's worked out to be honest with you. It was a kind of make it from what you got job. So it's about just under 3 foot that way by 4 foot that way. Oh, well, it would be because it was a piece of 4 foot wide plywood I used. By careful trimming and cutting, I managed to get 2 side sections out of the sheet, and this was another offcut I had, made the front, and there's an offcut there to make the tailboard. This will be the front with the bolted in section here, and then the tailboard, I'll just make some hinges that come down with the old hooks on, so I can tip it down and slide it off. A couple of anti-loose clips on there, and away we go. I mean, it's a good enough size. I mean, a lot of them sort of small garden trailers are only about that wide. But this is ideal because I'm doing green waste down the bottom, trimming trees, bits and pieces. I can load it all in and wheel it up. Saves me pushing a wheelbarrow. Because pushing wheelbarrows that are heavy, there is one thing that my back does not tolerate for some reason. Certain things upset it, and that's one of them. So this is going to be the nice solution. It's a good size, not too big, not too small. So, but great. So far I've spent, I did buy some bolts. I think I spent about £22–23 on it. I've got loads of paint, red oxide to slap it all over with. And I won't have to buy anything else really. So, what more do you want? An ideal size trailer. I mean, it's probably a little bit thicker, the iron, than you probably normally use, but so that's what I found, and there was some few offcuts from when I did the transit body. Yeah, so I'm pleased with that. It was a nice bit of creative thing to do on a Saturday. Another friend of mine was here as well, so it was quite handy. So he was helping me hold the sheets down as I sawed them up, and it's a bit of rough old ply, but I acquired that from I moved a machine for a guy earlier this year, and we put this on the back of the truck to protect the back of the truck, and he gave me the piece of plywood. So another part of it's been used for a workbench, and so none of it's gone to waste. I think anybody who's watched any of my videos and I make things, you know now that Martin will simply find everything he's got in the workshop or in one of his sheds and either screw it, glue it, or weld it together. It's all very nice. I mean, it would be lovely to have a rack full of steel and all the rest of it, but sometimes it's more fun making things this way. Find and adapt. So that's what I've been up to weekend, and got MOT my Fiesta ST this afternoon and a couple of errands to run. I'm doing a bit of tidying up, making use of this glorious day. Let me show you how beautiful this is here. That's spectacular. Still a little bit of a breeze blowing, and I'm actually going to have a good wander around the lawn sort and pick up all those larger bits of willow, before I run the sweep over it, because I have discovered that them long, very long bits, the sweeper does wrap round the sweeper and then gets caught up in the all around the bearings. So I just have to pick them up. But I can have a good sweep up, although most of the leaves actually headed off in that direction about 1,000 miles an hour and disappeared somewhere up the road. So the poor old tree does look a bit battered, because sort of Sunday evening and into Saturday evening and into Sunday morning, this poor thing was almost inside out. You could see all the branches and it was just truly incredible. I looked at a couple of them and thought, oh, that looks scary, and went back in the workshop. Anyhow, that's what I've been up to. So we've had quite a lot of viewings over the weekend. I've got a couple of videos to post about a few things. So, yes, everything's going really, really well. I think with a bit of luck we'll have hit another 1,000 views by the end of this week. So, and a couple more subscribers. So, anybody who's a regular, thanks very much. Anybody who's new, again, thank you. It's always appreciated. Anyhow, that's about as exciting as it can get with a trailer. On the subject quickly of the axle, I've got to make some angled brackets to go sort of down for the axle to sit on, and the drawbar I'll obviously weld to here, and then I'll bend that down to meet the axle to support everything. But it just so happens I've got 3 of these lumps of roof rack section, so they'll be handy for that. So it'll be a pretty robust thing. So anyhow, thanks very much indeed for watching. There'll be the usual what's happening Wednesday, and anything else happens I'll bring you along, although I don't think a lot's happening this week. Still, so again, thank you very much indeed for watching, and bye for now.